with you.
Go
you know
ahead.
what? I took his money because he don't give me nothing. He don't give me nothing. And you know what, Your Honor? When I take it, I let him know I took it. Yeah, I let him know. Because he don't give me nothing. Because he go out there with them good girls and think he ain't gonna give me nothing. I take it. Yeah, I
What
take it.
kind of girls?
Good girls.
What
That's
are
what
those
they
good girls?
Community girls. You know how when it rain and before it rain and they come out like ants. You know how ants get together, thousands of ants?
Right.
On the first and the third, when them good girls in our community know a man got some money, they gonna prey on them just like that. And that's what they do. But you know what I tell them?
What?
You're not getting next to my husband. You better take your shoes for a walk.
Take your shoes for a walk, huh? Aggressive. We got to get that energy moving in the right direction, especially in marriage. About half of marriages in the U.S., they actually end in divorce. But could the government start forcing couples to stay together is the question. You know, as Donald Trump prepares to become president again, conservatives want to make divorce a lot more difficult for you to sign them papers. The consequences of divorce in the black community, well, I know a lot about that. And you'll find out more right here on Truth Talks. Flat Out.
All right, Truth Tellers, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Ryan Cameron, and yes, I'm one of those married people who took a trip down Splitsville. Oh. As always, we got our other co-hosts, of course, the Lou's finest, Willie Moore Jr.
Yeah. Greetings. This show is going to be unique. It should be fun, and it should be faith-filled, but I, too, took that walk as well.
And here to mess with our heads, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant.
And when I get married, I'll also be giving head. What's up, Doc Squad? It's your favorite doc, Dr. Bryant. We're about to have a show tonight, y'all.
Dr. Sarah Fontenot, host of the podcast It's Giving. Welcome back, Sarah.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here. It's going to get spicy.
We're going to dive deep into the consequences of divorce later in the show. But first, Willie, tell us what's going on with our trending truths.
Indeed. So 50 Cent is calling out female rappers for over-sexualizing themselves. Now, in a recent podcast episode, the rapper said over-sexualization is, quote, damaging female culture. He said his own songs were more subtle about sex, right? It's really subtle about sex. While female rappers are more explicit now, 50 Cent also added that the current focus on sex actually lowers the standard for what it takes to be a female artist. The real question is ladies, do you agree?
So 50 and I, y'all know we're really good friends. We talk about this all the time, literally. Like, even like, I'm talking like earlier this year, he was talking about the whole song that says like, my booty hole's brown, or whatever she says in those lyrics.
Down.
Right, but she says her booty hole's brown or something, and he just was saying, like, you know, that's just so explicit and that's just so much, and that's not really art, right? That's not the artistry of rap. And so I'm saying that to say, when we were talking about it then, I did agree. I'm like, well, yeah, if they're selling sex, or are they selling the art and creativity of lyrics? And for people who are rappers or hip hop artists, you know, people say that's separate, some people say it's the same. I think that there was a lyricist, thank you, Ryan, lyricist. And then there's rappers, and then I think that they're entertainers. I feel like the My Booty Hole's Black and all the sexual talk, that's more of entertainment for a certain culture, but I don't see it as being like an art of rapping.
I'll take you to the candy shop.
Yeah.
I'll let you lick the lollipop.
Yeah.
That's a 50 Cent lyric.
Yes.
So what's the difference between that?
He just said that he believes that's more subtle than my
How
butthole
you licking
is
the lollipop
brown.
in the candy shop? You know exactly what that is.
Hey, but the kids don't know what
But
it
it's
is.
metaphorical too.
Yeah,
like my
it's
mom used to
not
play
direct.
that song on repeat.
Well, shame on your mother.
She didn't know any better, but she loved the beat to the
No,
song.
your mom. Now you ain't gonna sit up here and tell me your mom didn't know what the candy shop. Now,
She
Sarah,
didn't care.
I know you
She
from
listens
Canada,
to
but it ain't
music.
that
I'm trying
damn
to
dry.
tell you, she played it on
Come on,
repeat.
Sarah, you ought to fix your face. You ought to be ashamed of
I'm
yourself.
gonna tell you the
Sarah,
truth.
your mama didn't know what candy shop was.
I ain't saying that.
I'm
I'm just saying
saying
she played it on
that.
repeat.
Girl, stop.
Well, at least we know why her dad stuck around. Praise the Lord.
Oh, Lord, fix it, Jesus. Okay, so look, I have to say this. As far as like the music goes, I think that it's also desensitizing the way and cheapening the sexual market. Because now, if you see booty cheeks in the grocery store, if you see them on the TV, if you see all these things everywhere, now it's become this normal way of life where it's like, I'm okay giving you my body because you've seen it already. They're talking about it in the songs. There was one song I heard where somebody said, 500 at the clinic before I ever let you make me a mama, essentially. Like, so that means you're getting smashed by these people.
To
you're
have
going.
abortions?
That's crazy to me. Like, the messaging is crazy to me, and I think that it is destroying our future generation.
Well, I mean, we survived the Lil' Kim era,
Yeah.
and she was the poster child for sexually explicit lyrics.
True.
And I think that one of the problems is that all of these women are doing it now, and they're getting a whole lot of money, which seems to be a reoccurring theme, is if you can get the bag, then twerk all you want, shake all you want, and meet me at the bank.
But guess what it doesn't do? It don't get you in office.
Oh yeah, she gonna get on Kamala because of course she invited people. To those of you who haven't been watching the show, she really had a strong opinion when it came to rappers being a part of the whole president election thing. But here's the thing, I don't want to be hypocritical because I too was a 22-year-old boy who wrote, "I'm kissing where the sun don't shine. After that you'll do mine. Turn over, let me see it from behind. You'll call the coroner after this crime." And so
you had more lyrics than that. You had about 7 songs.
Yeah, so it was a whole
sex.
lot of that. Like, lay your body down was what it was. But here go the thing.
Oh, the coroner.
The more killing something. Killing something.
High key that shark though.
Hey, killing something. No, sorry,
The Hellcat
babe. Sorry,
gonna
babe.
be dead.
Sorry, babe. Anyway, but no, like I feel hypocritical. Like here's the thing. It's either hustle or it's art.
Right.
A lot of people don't know I stopped doing music because it became a hustle and I didn't want to cheat the art. I was like, if I'm doing this for bread and meat, if I don't win, don't eat, how much money we doing? I love the art so much. I would rather succumb to saying, I submit it back to you and hopefully you can do something else. So now when we get back to music, it's for the love. I think the artists don't have the love for the art anymore.
Yeah.
And that's what 50 Cent is calling out. He said, if you're doing it for the bag, then this is what you're gonna get. For him, when he was doing it, he was being creative. He was sitting in a house in Cincinnati, in Connecticut, writing these songs and really locked in. And I don't think these artists doing it.
But he's also saying he's not saying I'm taking my penis and shoving it down your throat and then I'm gonna ejaculate and it's gonna come out of your P-U-S-S-Y.
It's still the same when you spell it.
These women are literally saying like, I'm gonna pop my. If you're telling someone my booty hole is brown and my vagina is pink, that is explicit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want nobody knowing what color my booty hole is unless they in my booty hole looking at it.
I'm praying.
That's crazy. Please pray.
Listen, I can't wait until 2025. We praying she get married and there's gonna be some man in this life to say, babe, chill.
A Real Housewives star will be sentenced next month on a DUI charge.
Sheesh.
Authorities say back in March, Real Housewives of Potomac star Karen Huger crossed a median and hit multiple street signs. Wham, wham, wham! Huger says she was discussing her grief over her mother's death and was overwhelmed with emotion while driving. The incident, of course, is expected to be featured prominently on the upcoming season. So do y'all think reality stars should be spared from having some things be on camera? Because you know it's going to be on camera.
So this is the thing. I've done reality TV, and if it's in the contract, then you have to run those plays. You sign the contract. If it's not, then she has the right to say they're not privy to that information. But with reality TV, they tend to know how to set up certain things because the way that they pay some of these stars
Based on the storyline.
Based on the storyline.
Right.
And, you know, if you're not getting that TV timing, you ain't getting your paycheck. And so certain things tie in, like Ryan said, to the storyline. And if you can't tie it in, then guess what? You don't have one. If you don't have a storyline, you don't have a reality show. So therefore, you're also setting up your next contract for the next season, that season that you're on that show. So if you don't bring the drama, then guess what? Producers are not calling you back for the next season. Because reality TV, they get the highest ratings. Yeah. And people want to see drama in action. If you're not bringing it, you just don't get that next year contract. And you go year to year. It's not like a 3 to 5 year contract.
Right, they give you a 1 year deal.
1 year deal.
But how far is too far? Because now you're willing to wreck your life to get a DUI, to put it on TV so that there's enough drama to come back for next season. Okay, but you're also destroying your reputation. Because at the end of the day, whether you were, and you know, we all know grief comes in waves, and maybe that was the situation. However, you were drunk when you got into your car and you decided to drive. Let's just call it what it is.
And when you say how much is too much, the thing is, this reality stuff, I'm telling you, I did 1 season, okay? This 1 season, I think it was 15 episodes.
On what show?
Oh, God, y'all so
tell
nosy. I came on as a psychology expert for Basketball Wives LA, and I took my doctor hat off probably by the 3rd season. So I went from Dr. Brian trying to help them to you would get drugged real quick, real motherfucking quick. So I'm back. Now, I did 15 episodes. Well, how I say you get caught up is I came in as Dr. Bryant, the professional. I was very articulate. I was trying to help. And when I tell you, I forgot about the contract, the money, the Dr. Bryant brand, and everything else, and said I will flip this whole table over.
You got caught up?
I didn't get caught
So
up. I told
did
somebody
they
you
write
would get.
things to kind of trigger you, or was it something just kind of naturally?
No, they put us in situations where you have these outside conversations, and all of a sudden these outside conversations are now at the brunch that I'm throwing with our state senator there at one of the most prominent black restaurants in LA. And so while we're doing that, I don't know these outside conversations, and I'm saying something to somebody. She has a problem with it. I walk over. Producer's already told her, call her out on it. So when she calls me out on it, I walk closer to her in her face and explain to her that, hold on, you in my camp, big little dog. You in the big dog part. You got my family here, my friends here, and my people. So once she stood up, everybody who was in there, dog walked her up out that place. And when they dog walked her out, what happened? Ratings went up. But ratings went up, why? Because the Dr. Bryant lady came on and she turned up. And so
15 more episodes.
15 more episodes.
Resign her.
We go, yeah. So that's what happened. So it becomes addicting, meaning at some point, you forget you on the show and you're looking at it like you're just not gonna disrespect me now, and then things inflame.
Yeah. And you know what? I think that that's one reason why the types of shows that you watch are so important. And speaking of one of the great shows, we got to address Oprah, okay? Gayle King got a huge, huge shock, and it was all caught on camera. Oh my goodness, look at this.
Watch her purse. Yeah!
Oh, she did not see it coming. King turned 70 this month. She thought she was attending a Christmas party with her best friend Oprah when she walked into a surprise birthday party filled with friends, family, and celebrities. Do you guys like the idea of a surprise party? And do you actually think that she was shocked?
No, I definitely think she was shocked.
I think she was
You see how she
shocked,
threw that
right?
purse? She was definitely shocked. But I think there should be an age limit for surprise parties.
Oh, because of heart attack.
No, I'm saying like, yeah, because that's what people were saying in the comments. They was like, man, now you'd been really messed up. You would have scared Gayle King to death.
Right, literally.
I love surprise. My best friend Lola threw me a surprise lake party with jets and yachts and friends and family, and I just thought we would have a day of barbecue. I got there, everybody was there, all the family members and people brought like food. I love to be surprised.
I love throwing surprises. Like,
I
I
like
like
to
to
do
be the
both.
surprise.
Well, throw me something, Willie.
surpriser.
Throw me something.
I surprised my purpose partner 2 years ago and had all her family there as we flew back in from Dallas, and
Love that.
she was giving so much. Like, I'm putting my outlet. Why are we rushing? She walks in the house and said, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, it was just so hard. You know what I mean? To get it done.
When my former spouse turned 40, I flew 27 of her friends to Fisher Island for a surprise birthday party. That was a spot back in the day. And yeah, she was definitely surprised because I had an endorsement with, AirTran, and so all the business class tickets were free. Oh, I miss AirTran.
Wow.
Up next, we're going to be politicking. A huge development in a court case against Donald Trump. The action taken against the black woman prosecuting the case. Coming up on True Talks.
Hey.
Prosecuting.
And welcome back to True Talks. It's time for politics. And another horizontal story gone wrong.
Ew.
Willie has a look at a big victory for Donald Trump and a punishment for a top black prosecutor.
Well, a Georgia Court of Appeals disqualified District Attorney Fani Willis from prosecuting the case against Donald Trump. Now, the president-elect and several others who faced charges in the 2020 election interference case, according to the court, a romantic relationship between Willis and a very special prosecutor is enough to take the case in the public eye.
Oh, man. The charges against Trump were not dismissed, and a new prosecutor could take over. But this hurts the ability of the case to move forward in court. Do you think Willis would have faced this criticism if she weren't a black woman?
This has nothing to do with race.
No?
I think, the fact that Nathan Wade, or as we call him on my show, D Wade, because all he did was give her the D. And the inconsistencies by trying to take on the person who is the highest, power person in the land, there's always going to be some kind of wiggle room there, and they were going to find a loophole. And that happened within the courthouse because people were talking about it and chatting about it. And I think, there's always a time whenever somebody is doing something a little ill. I always tell my kids, I say to them, whenever you're about to do something, I want you to hear me in your head saying, now what's the worst thing that can happen? And you need to hear my voice. what's the word? And I'm sure when she and D Wade got together and they were on their little rendezvous, there was a moment in time where she had to say to herself, now, if I do this, what's the worst thing that can happen?
No, I'll tell you what she said. She did it one time and said, ooh, she got that black man D and said, now I need to do this over and over again. I'm going to shoot him this case, put him on, and we're going to take trips with the dinero. Didn't know she was going to get caught up, but she wouldn't have got caught up if it wasn't for a white woman that told on her. That's where I got a problem. Now, listen, it's one thing to have a problem with me, sis.
Yep.
It's another thing not to mind your damn business, okay? Because I ain't gonna say we, because I ain't screwing a prosecutor, but I'm gonna say we, because we all sisters, we in it together. Because we have decided to finally do what y'all been doing and play your game. You got a problem with it. You should have mind your damn business and let that lady do what she was doing seriously. Because a lot of people, but these white women, Marilyn Monroe was one of them, long time ago legend, the very first to do it, okay? Happy birthday, Mr. President. Y'all remember that?
Yep.
Since we doing what y'all been doing, you got a problem with it. Anytime we come in, y'all think we stepping on your toes.
Was it race, though, or was it political?
So to me, I believe, unpopular opinion, don't care, that with the white woman telling on the black woman, I think that was race. That's how I look at it. I don't think that had nothing to do with politics, because politics means I'm getting paid to play or to tell. I think that was race.
I think it was politics.
Fine, that's fine.
Yeah.
I think it's politics too.
That's fine. I think it was race. I think it was a black woman who was having one up, doing something, running plays that they've seen them run, and they got a problem with it when we come in because we take over everything.
When you get into the water of trying to prosecute a president, you got to know you got to be dang near perfect. That's why I know President Barack Obama was actually the closest thing to perfect, because if it was something there, everything would have came to the light.
True.
They tried the best to do anything. So when you do that, I'm a Bible guy. The Bible says always count the cost, and I don't think a lot of times we count the cost when we're just going after people. There was always different types of people in that office, specifically a white woman who probably is a very strong Trump supporter, and they giving away money to find anything that they can.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if we can get this and taint this, then we make sure that our president makes sure that he doesn't get
And the fact that you said she's a Trump
prosecuted.
supporter means she believes in taking away DEI, which means she believes in taking away affirmative action, which means that it was definitely racism. And if you want to go political, well, you said you got to damn near be perfect and count the cost. Trump ain't count the cost. A lot of these white people ain't count the cost. So when you talk about white privilege or black privilege, it says stay in your lane. Unless this is going to affect you directly, then stay in your lane and let me do what I'm doing. Because now you affected an entire case that has nothing to do with this lady to do what? What was the lady's payoff or benefit for telling on this sis for doing what she's doing?
President of her candidate free.
Right. And I mean, we always talk about
Who don't want
how,
DEI, don't want affirmative action.
we always talk about how y'all as black women have to be twice as good, right?
Yeah.
So in a position where she just came behind Paul Howard, who was a former district attorney, who had his own allegations, some other stuff, and they almost said it was like, in the courtroom there was always some other stuff going on, right? Allegedly. But for her to get in that position and to come in and say she's going to clean house, she went after YSL, she went after Donald Trump, she went after all these people. So you thought that she was on the straight and narrow and say, you know what? I am not going to mess up this opportunity, because there may not be another black female prosecutor after this, because even though she won re-election, there still is always that asterisk around it, because in the Wikipedia, it's going to say Donald Trump, and it's going to say this and what happened and what went wrong. What went wrong? You didn't have evidence? You didn't have this? No. You got disqualified because of an inappropriate relationship. And I think that makes black women go, golly, man, why couldn't you just not do that?
No, first of all, I'm a black woman, and let me say this on behalf of Sarah and I and every other black woman. We don't have to be half as good. We are half as damn good. And that's the problem half the time.
Twice as good.
Twice, half, 500 times, we just that damn good. And that becomes a problem a lot of the times, and why I said it goes to racism. Because when you see a black woman who is already that damn good come in and do some more damn good things, you have a problem with it, because that does not represent white privilege. It represents something totally opposite than you represent as a white woman. And then she's suing a white man at it. So yes,
The
it has
former
everything.
president, though.
Yeah, regardless. That's the
Doc, I
problem.
mean, the most powerful person in the free world who has already said,
Who has
I'm holding, but he's already
36
said, Doc,
felonies. He has
Doc,
36
Doc,
felonies.
I understand this, but he's already said, I'm holding grudges, I'm taking names. He's already telling you, guess what's going to happen? You think somebody else is going to take that case on?
This man
you
has
think somebody else
36
is going to take that
felonies.
case on?
She has sex with one man, and it's a big problem. He has 36 felonies, and she gave her vagina to one man who was her boyfriend. Y'all are tripping.
And
No, absolutely not.
And one thing that I do want to throw out there is, and when you are in that position, you almost have to live and move like everything is a setup. Because
Now,
for
that
me,
is true.
that's my question.
Come
Was she
on.
set up from the beginning? Because we as women, especially when you're a high-powered woman, you know, you want that affection, you want that love, but you're oftentimes so stuck inside of what you do. So when I do get to see you in court, when I do get to start building that relationship, when I do get to kind of let the guard down a little bit, let my hair down a little bit, and I finally feel seen by a man, my question was he a plant from the beginning?
And my question is, did you see him seeing me and had a problem because I was being seen?
Right.
Mind your damn business or close your eyes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Willie. Go ahead.
Listen, I don't think anything is wrong with having a relationship and falling in love in the workplace.
I
If
don't
you
either.
disclose it.
If you are going to disclose it,
Right.
go to HR, whoever, and say, hey, we're working together. We actually have a relationship together. You put it on Front Street and you just do it correctly. I don't think
Well, let me
anybody
tell you
is
this, that's
Just 2
none of your
seconds, let me
business.
finish.
Well, you signed an NDA with me, so don't you get to disclosing nothing with us. We got an NDA.
Whatever. But when a man and a woman and they fall in love with each other, they have this relationship, it's actually going to be a relationship. If you on this level, I don't believe you just having sex with random men. There was something to that. And if it really means something, I feel like as the man, you have to be a little bit better on protecting her if that's what you was going to do, if you was going to have a relationship.
Isn't what she did worse than what he did?
Ryan, you talking about a president who has 36 felonies.
34.
34. I think 34, 39. They all in the 30 felonies. He's sexually abusing women. He's getting rid of an entire DEI education for black people in different states. Come on now, you're talking about this dude
But
who was sitting up there with pedophiles hanging out, and we're going to ask if a black woman who finally decided to get a little freaky deaky and let her hair down did something wrong than a man who grabbed somebody by their vagina. She didn't rape this man. She didn't make this man do anything. She ain't no gold digger. She got her own money. So what your man got to say about her now? She want to have a little love, and it's wrong for her to do that?
Listen, the
What?
point of the matter is this, right? Why was he going to court in the first place? I think we're getting away from it. We're kind of getting focused on the horizontal.
He was going to see her.
But it was based on the fact that we're talking about election interference. By the fact that he called the district attorney, he called the state attorney and was like, you can find me 14,000, blah, blah. All this is on tape. Okay. The evidence is there. But then to have pretty much not saying it's an open and shut case, but a case that can be prosecuted, and all you got to do is just do what you're doing. That's all you have to do. And I don't think it's about black or white. I think about the fact that when they send people to jail, they go, you were neglectful of your duty as appointed by the court. So you take an oath of office. And she said, I'm the Fulton County prosecutor. She swore in front of a Bible that she is going to go out and, to the best of her ability, prosecute those who are malfeasance.
She can't get prosecuted for that. And her oath didn't say, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and make sure my vagina stays in my pants. That woman could do what she wants, called free choice.
Not with hiring somebody to work in that same office. She's
a grown woman, and you got to know who you're dealing with, too, right? Like, Trump wants to win everything. He doesn't just want to win, he wants to dominate. And so when you know that you're dealing with a person that's like that, it's very important for you to be mindful of, is this a setup? How could this come out wrong? What's the worst thing that could happen, as you asked that question? And as a woman in that power of position, it's really important for her to position herself where, and by the way, I know that's the rules, we need to disclose our relationship. It's none of your business. When I'm at work, I'm at work. When I'm at home, I'm at home. When I'm doing my job, I'm doing my job. But when I'm not, I'm not. And who are we to tell another grown person how to act, how to be, or who to lie down with? It's all smoke and mirrors, really and truly.
I want to do with my body is none of your damn business unless you're the one doing it with me. Okay? Period.
I understand.
And
but
she
to
can't
whom
get
much is given,
she can't get prosecuted for this.
To whom much is given, much is required. When she took that oath,
she took
whatever comes
She's not
with
getting
them.
prosecuted
At
for
the
this.
end of the
This is not
day,
breaking a law.
like we cannot negate the fact that this was a situation that turned into one of the biggest mistakes of her life. If we set her at this right here, she would say, these are probably some things that I probably would have done different.
No.
And at the end of the day, when an African-American woman is put on such a pedestal, we have to know that mistakes are costly to the African-American community. There are little girls who are looking up to her, and now the media is doing their best to put as much stain on her name. Here's the thing, it's not fair. I hate that when somebody makes a mistake that we don't see that mistakes aren't people, they're just incidents. But it's unfortunately that media, they do what they have to do, and now we're sitting with a case now where President Trump will not go to jail
that
or
a black woman used her freedom of choice with her body did not break a law. That's why
Black
she's not getting.
woman
That's why
prosecuted
she's not getting
attorney.
she's not getting prosecuted for using her vagina with the penis that she wanted to. That's not a freaking law.
But the
that's
biggest
not
case
you said
a
it
law.
yourself.
The
You said it
YSL,
yourself.
Dr. B, the YSL case, everybody done got took off. Everybody at home right now, she started that. That was a move that she wanted to do, and that didn't work. Now she's actually pushing this Trump thing, and because of her own personal decisions, now that won't work. She now has a losing record,
And
right?
you said it yourself. You said it yourself that based on this, that now anytime she hires this guy to come work for her firm, you're going to be looking out for you. That's my girl. We sleeping together. I'm going to look out for her. It's going to come across as being inappropriate, and you're showing favoritism to somebody that is on your staff. You just said this in the break.
First of all, I'll talk about what I talk about on the break, okay? Second of all,
Got a commercial.
okay? Second of all, what my point is that it is very unfair
It is.
that a black woman found some type of chemistry with another man,
Yes.
did what they did. It was nobody's damn business, regardless of the race. And because and let me go to your point, sidebar, hold on, y'all. You were talking about she messed up this case. This woman wasn't gonna win this case to begin with. We talked about that before she gave up the putty to the man. So she probably said, listen, me against Trump.
What did she do? Show me what she did.
I already know what you're going
What
for.
did-
Go ahead.
What did
Go
she
ahead,
do?
Go ahead. This is great. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It's all about a spread
Go ahead. What happened? What
and
happened?
horizontal. What did she do? Show me, Dr. B, with your hand.
She did what I would have did. If I'm already not gonna win the case and I've been wanting to take it down, I'm going like Ryan said, we're going horizontal.
Yo.
I'm gonna lose anyways. I'm about to get something out of it. Some good D. Dang.
Y'all didn't know this was going to be a comedy special, okay? They say breaking up is hard to do, and it may get harder, literally.
That's what she was looking
The
for.
push to pass laws to make it harder to divorce. Next on True Talks.
Woo.
And welcome back to True Talks. For more than 50 years, married couples have been able to get a no-fault divorce. The process allows couples to separate without accusing one partner of wrongdoing.
But with Donald Trump set to move back into the White House, conservatives want to end it. Opponents of no-fault divorce say ending a marriage in this country is too easy. Listen to this divorce lawyer.
Debatable opinion. Women initiate divorce too often. Ladies, I hate to say it, I have to agree. A lot of my female clients will come in out of anger. They saw something on social media. They read something in his text messages or emails. Something happened that made them think in that moment they need to be divorced. And they come in, they have consultations, they retain us, and we file for divorce, and then the case just sits. Because they moved out of emotion and not from a place of reason.
Wow. Supporters of no-fault divorce say it is crucial to help domestic violence victims leave abusive situations. It also means fewer complicated cases in already crowded divorce courts. Now, divorce is hella painful. Not to be rushed. It shouldn't be a decision you just make out of emotion. It's not a good experience no matter which sides win, because only the lawyers actually win because they're getting that bag. Is getting a divorce in this country the new money grab is the question for all the states who definitely getting that money, especially when it comes to the lawyers.
And the courts.
Yeah, the court's getting that money too, and the lawyer getting that money. The mediator's getting that money. Man, I'm getting a sick stomach just thinking about that bill.
But I just feel like
Goodness.
I feel like there's no price on your happiness and no price on your peace. And so if divorce is what gives you that, then you pay what you got to pay.
Yeah.
And then you chop up what was not a good experience to, like to the Red Sea, meaning it washes in there with no dirt on your foot. And what was good, you take it, which is the promised land.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the states or the country making money off of divorce. I think people are making money off of divorce. Ryan, you made a good point saying that I think 50% or more than 50% of black women's, social economic good status comes from the result of a divorce.
Yeah.
And I'm not knocking them, I'm just saying, so I think it's the people making money off of it, and not so much the country. It's up to us to choose who we want to wed with, who's conducive for us, and then choose when it's time to disconnect that.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is a lawyer's joke, they say, you know why divorces are so expensive? Because they're worth it. And I think for a lot of
like
people,
that.
I remember there was a time when my divorce first started where, her lawyers and my lawyers were in pretty much, I felt like cahoots, you know, because it's very few lawyers in the state that don't know each other. And they were like insistent on a forensic accountant. You need a forensic accountant. You need a forensic accountant. And I was like, a forensic accountant? Why? And they was like, because, you know, you need to make sure that she's not hiding money. She need to make sure. I said, but she does the books. She does the taxes.
Yes.
She knows where everything is. Do you know how much that forensic accountant costs?
Yes.
And they split the money? $50,000.
Yes, $40,000.
$50,000
Yeah.
for two people who knew each other and who knew each other's books. And I was like, yo, I was like, yo, this is a money grab for the lawyers.
Yeah.
But like, to that lady, to the lawyer's clip, at that point, there was no reason.
Yeah.
There was
so this is what I believe, and just a little bit of helpful hints. Here's the thing. Number one, don't just run to divorce court.
Right.
Like if there's a way for you all to come down and reconcile and have a formidable relationships, number one, your children. You got to know exactly what you want to do with your children. What days you gonna have them, what days she'll have them, what holidays, what school, religious background. Like a lot of that stuff can really just be done online. Of course, I don't want this decision to be made easy for you because I would rather you stay. But that was the one thing I didn't know. A lot of times we go straight to these divorce lawyers when a mediator can actually be put in place and you guys can go in with a lawyer and agree on what you agree on, and it's a less bill. A lot of times we hire these high-powered lawyers that charge you $300 an email, right? $300 an email, may I say it again, $300, come on, say it with me, an email, right? When we really could have sat down and had a really good conversation about what we think our life could look like apart. Most of the time when a man has some money or what have you, they'll be like, yo, like they don't want to leave you high and dry. At least I didn't. But sometimes, you know, it's the emotion starts and the woman like, nah, we got to do it this way. And it's like, nah, that system is set up for you to fail. And, you know, people are left with six-figure bills.
Yeah, no, that's true, Willie, you know, but listen, no matter how you feel about divorce, we know it has consequences.
Yes.
Research shows that children of divorced parents are more likely to have behavioral problems, have lower grades, engage in risky sexual behavior, and live in poverty. Adults are more likely to deal with depression, physical illness, and substance abuse.
And for men, the risk of a heart attack after divorce is so great. The mortality rate for divorced men is about 250% greater than for married men.
Yeah.
I just want to throw this out there that I almost like the idea of divorce being harder to get because it makes you consider who you choose a little bit more.
Yeah.
Some of us are just so eager to get married that we're not actually taking the time to vet the person that we're even dating, and then we find out once we're married, I actually don't like you at all. In fact, the way that you breathe makes me angry, you know, or the way that you look at me in the morning makes me want to punch you in your face. And obviously I'm being dramatic, but really and truly there are things or tics or quirks about people, those idiosyncrasies that can really just start to get under a person's skin. And I think that if you really take the time to seek what happens after the altar, instead of making the goal marriage, make the goal, do I want to be a wife and a husband? And what does that look like inside of alignment and core values and purpose and fulfillment? Then it would be a completely different ballgame. So I wouldn't be mad if divorce were harder to get because it makes you choose your person a little more selectively.
I think the only clause they should have in there, though, is if there's rape, domestic violence, you know, sexual abuse, those should be clauses in there. But also, to your point, those things that you mentioned that come up in marriage, like I don't like you, or, you know, I don't like the way you do X, Y, and Z, those are also the things that are a direct reflection of you and show you what you need to work on as a person. And so when you get to a place of maturity, emotional intelligence, and you know that you chose your person, and you're not just choosing the man in him or the woman in them, you're choosing the God in them. You give grace and you love them differently. And so when you're choosing to love the God in each other, I always say that when you bring God into it, you start to have more of a problem-solving mindset towards them. You learn that you too are not the problem's outside of you. And you don't let it seep into the marriage. So even if Willie and I are married, he comes to me with a problem, I don't look at his problem as his. I say, okay, babe, we now have a problem. Let's face the problem and figure out how we get past this together, because I am in love and married to the God in you, which means I could never be a part of you or separate from you. That's important to me.
I mean, I think, you know, with my divorce, and I mean, to Willie's point, man, I did the mediation. I did it all and agreed to everything. And I remember my lawyer saying, hey, you know, I need you to sign off on this before we go to mediation because it shows good faith on your part that you believe in the mediator. Man, when that thing came out, I looked like a damn fool. Because I believed the lawyers, because everything that I agreed to with the custody and the bill split and all those different things, none of that was in the final paper. It was all changed, and I found out as I was going into the courtroom to sign up the paper. Now, and I think, you know, every man who's about to get divorced, he has a look on his face.
Yes.
And,
you remember you taught me
and I told Willie, I said, hey man, you all right? Because there's a look because the men are most
what is
likely
that, though? What is that
because
about?
you know, they always say that y'all leave us. You know,
what's the look though, right? Like, how does
it's a look of disdain, of confusion, of I don't know what's going to happen. For me, it was the fact that I went from seeing my kids every day, 31 days a month, to 12 months a year to seeing them 4.
Damn.
And that was something that I couldn't, it was something I could not deal with. And going from house to house and all, it was, I just could not, it was one of those things where I was like, I remember, you know, moving back into my marital house, right? I had a house in Buckhead, and I was like, you know what? God, give me a sign. And it wasn't God, but he was like, move back into your house. You'll show them that you're still about that life and you haven't changed a bit. Man, I moved into the house. My kids are grown up. I'll be in there at 2 o'clock in the morning. I hear all that ghost walking around. Daddy, we used to live here. Yeah. And I'd be miserable. It is one of the most painful things, but I'll land the plane by saying this. I told Willie, I said, the first thing you need to know, you're going to get through this.
You're going to get through this.
So now y'all see why
Yeah.
I'm taking my time.
Yeah. And I'm glad
And I'm having a good time taking my time.
You having way too much fun. So I remember thinking to myself, so you got to understand this, I had never met anybody in my biological family. So my goal was to have a family. I always knew that I would be successful because I'm gonna work hard. My daddy was an ex-sharecropper, but I wanted a family. I don't know if people understand what it's like to never know anybody who looked like you. I never heard anybody say, you look just like yo. Right? I've never heard that. So I was eager to get married, relationship, do what I want, you know, have my own family, have my purpose in my family. And so 15, 16 years later, when I have to make a hard decision because I filed for divorce, like that was the hardest thing in the world. But I remember one day, my little daughter, and this is when I knew it got a little bad, when she walked in and she said, come upstairs, Daddy. She's 2 years old. And she points at our marital bed and she says, mommy room. And then she walks down the hallway to the guest room and she said, daddy room. And I had to say, is this the type of example that I want to set for my daughter? And you know, when I had to make that decision, I tell everybody at the end of the process, God didn't show me nothing that had to do with her. Like when she was talking to me, she should have did this, she did that. He only showed me. He only showed me everything that I could have done different. He only showed me that. And so when I did that, I realized it was so important for men and women to do the work. I could not go into a divorce court until I could physically out of my mouth say nothing about her. I said, I deserve this. God should, like my children deserve to see this. And it had nothing to do with her decisions. And then I was able to file, you know, and I was able to file. But here's the thing, I didn't just run a divorce court. I was a youth pastor in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I seen parents of children have to go through divorce. So in Charlotte, North Carolina, you have to stay separated and not be horizontal for a whole year. And if you caught doing that, they're under Billy Graham. If you caught doing that, then it starts over. So you have to have a year of no, you know, none of that.
No physical contact.
No physical contact. And then you get an opportunity to, you know, file for divorce and move on with it. And I think that helped. So I took that system. I did a year, you know, outside of the home. And then after that year, I realized it wasn't getting better. And, you know, I decided to sign those papers. And I'm going to tell you, it was the toughest thing in the world. Like, I remember looking at my children and knowing that the big, beautiful vision that I had for my children was not going to be that vision. And it was really hard for me. Like, I couldn't work, I couldn't eat, I couldn't think because I realized my codependency had nothing to do with my wants. I did all of this to make sure that these children and this woman had everything that they want. And I realized I didn't have a goal outside of them. I didn't have no identity outside of them. And I know what it's like to look, you know, I had this beautiful condo midtown overlooking because, you know, you trying to get out and try to get some peace. And I know what it's like. So when people have these suicidal ideations, I won't say I ever had that, but I do know what it feels like to think that it could be better if I just wasn't in the equation. Because everybody's mad at you. They think, like, because you're not vocal about what she's doing, you're not vocal about what went on in the house, you're not vocal about it. Most men, we keep in and try to protect the woman while the woman gets the opportunity to be vocal because what we look like being catty on the internet talking about a woman, nigga, you ain't gonna never win that battle. So it's easier for you to be quiet. But I remember when God challenged me, he said, is that you? Because the internet's going crazy. Of course, you know, the blogs are calling. Thank God I got a really good name in the streets because when the Shade Room hit me, they was like, yo, what's going on? And when Ace hit me, she was like, it's public, but you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm not. She was like, well, I'm not gonna touch it. Shout out to Larry Reed, who called me when it was going crazy, and Larry was like, I won't touch that because I know who you are. And I'm glad because I was on the edge. But here's the thing, like God said, is that you? And I didn't get it. I was like, man, you gotta stop this. Like I'm drinking too much, I'm smoking too much, and I'm running. And he said, is this you? And then it finally clicked. That's not me.
Right.
The man that she spoke of, I despise him. I'm no longer him. I've done the work, so I can actually laugh at the guy that you speak of because that was a shell of a man who wanted attention, the man who needed your approval. I get my approval from God, so now I'm kind of laughing at the same guy, and I continue to do my work.
But
the same thing happened to me, right? The same thing happened to me, except being a public figure, right?
Yeah.
You know, the AJC, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, when they put the story in the newspaper, they put my picture and her picture with that line, that dividing line.
That's the most
but it was
embarrassing
one of the longest stories because not only did they put that in there, they then put up a YouTube clip of me at my father-daughter dance professing my love for her. It was one of those things where it was diabolical, it was despicable, and I actually, when I saw the guy who wrote it, I said, man, it's taking everything for me not to push you down these steps right now.
Right.
Because I didn't deserve this treatment. But to your point, you know, and I've said this on past shows, I really am glad for mental health. I'm glad for therapy. Yeah. I'm glad for me to fix my broken antenna. And I was not the husband that I would have wanted to be involved with because I was not the guy that somebody should be wanting to be married to because I had all of these things that I thought were entitlements and things that I felt like I'm back. When I came back from DC after being up there for a year, I had to prove to people that I was back out there, and everything that I said I was going to do to her, I was out there doing out there in these streets, trying to say, you know, I'm back, you know, I ain't never left. And I should have been concentrating on trying to be a good partner.
You know, I think I can do the same thing. I can say that I definitely wasn't the man that I am today. However, the version that I was a man who was attempting to listen. And I think that's why I got disappointed so much. So every time she wanted anything, like I would never communicate that that's what I was going after, but I expected her to celebrate when she seen it coming, but I wasn't the greatest communicator. So if she said, you know what's harsh? I remember Peyton having to go, sorry for saying his name, but he had to take him to school. And I remember the first day, she was just in tears. And I held her and I said, babe, what's your dream? She said, I wish I could be a parent full time because it just hurts me. And so in 24 months, she never had to work again. So I was thinking like, that's all good. But I wasn't. I was such a hero that I missed the signs of knowing that she had so much more on the inside of her and that I should have supported. And I think when you put your cape on and after you do, okay, well, you don't have to do this. Well, I took care of this. Then pride kicks in and you no longer see her as a person of help. You see her as a person of need. Like, I got to care for everything. And then, you know, she have her normal days of the month, but I'm like, you shouldn't have that because I. Right. And then pride took over.
We're going to talk about more supporting a divorced couple and how you would feel if you got invited to a divorce party. We're debating that next on Truth Talks, so stay with us.
You all right, baby?
You never really get a chance to hear the fellas talk about, you know, the pains and the pangs of divorce. And Will, you alluded to something. I want to give you a chance to follow up, and then I want to chime in on something too.
Yeah, you know, nobody speaks about the men and the pain that you go through. Feeling like a failure. There was a time when I would see men with their wedding band on, and I had one on my finger for so long that I hated to see dudes in my staff like with it. I was like, it represented so much responsibility. And here's the thing, like that was just really, really tough for me. I also remember not necessarily being able to, especially coming from a biblical standpoint, like every week I was on somebody's pulpit, and then we're the couple who, the name of our book is Happily After All, like all the things we went through. And for me, I was overcompensating for a relationship that wasn't necessarily thriving. I remember when we first wrote that book, because that's what was all over social media on the Christian blogs. Esteemed author, best-selling author of marriage book, now going through divorce, et cetera, and they would put her clips on, and of course, a big picture of me and the children. Still got to get you for putting my children on that internet. I got to holler at you. But in any event, like I was overcompensating for what I believe could be overcompensated for and be received. So what am I saying? I'm saying this, that when I walked in, I said, we're gonna write a book. and our motivists are going to put more children in homes for adoption and foster care, so we need to get this thing together. And she was like, okay, but I ain't finna be out here faking for nobody. I was like, I said, listen, I don't want you to fake.
I love that.
But I feel like the Lord is challenging me, because when we moved to Atlanta, without a dime to our name, he showed up for us.
Right.
When I worked for Canton Jones for free, and then God took me into a radio station, and I didn't even know we had a show on that radio station because I was just serving the guy. God showed up by faith. The only thing that I've never did anything by faith in is with us. And so I'm gonna write this book by faith, and we're gonna write all of the great things that we do, because we've lasted through some very tough times. We're gonna put this thing in a book, and we're gonna go out and share with the world the good things that we do, and we're gonna share it with the rest of the world. But I realized a lot of that was me pushing her into what I believe, what I saw in her. I'm like, you are an author, you are a speaker, you are doing this. Now, here's the thing, she's doing all of that now.
The ideology of her.
Yeah,
right.
like, I see you as this and see all of that. And we had a really great conversation, so I don't want this to be anything bashing towards her at this time. But we had a really great conversation, and she was like, you know what, back then I didn't see it that way. And that was just really, really tough. But to men who are going through it, man, open up, communicate with people, don't hit that bottle too hard. That's something that I'm still struggling with.
Right.
Like, I don't do nothing half-assed. Like, if I'm gonna drink, we gonna drink, okay? Right. And so I have to, like, check that, but it's a lot of habits that the enemy wants to give you while you're going through it, so just be very careful with it.
Yeah, I think for me, one of the main things was I would have never asked for a divorce. I would have rode it till the wheels rolled up, because my grandparents, they were married 57 years. Another set of parents, they was married almost 60 years. And, I look back on it now and I say, I thank her for, filing for divorce from me. Wow. Because I don't think that I would have been able to become the man that I am today. Unfortunately, it took a toll on everybody. But there was a moment, right, when you go into the courtroom and everybody signs the papers, as Usher says, those papers. But the person who is filing divorce has to raise their hand and swear that they want to complete this divorce.
Wow.
And even after all the mediation and after all the legal proceedings, and they asked her, do you want to divorce and Ryan Cameron no longer be Mrs. Cameron or whatever? And she was like, yes. I was like, I never thought it would happen. Even we had been going, but it was that moment, that was a moment that was always in my head of saying, man, that is when I knew everything had fallen apart, and I think for a lot of men, and if you're going through stuff out there, man, call your friends 24 hours a day, because one of the main things that happens in divorce is that people choose sides.
Yep.
Yes.
And that is the toughest things, that you have lifelong friends, you have people that you have grown up with, people that were my friends first.
Yes.
Chose her. And I was like, but why can't we all be friends? And it wasn't going to be like that. And I was really, really surprised by that people who I had known all my life decided that they were going to make that kind of choice. And it really, really hurt me. It crushed me, because I was like, if we real friends, then this should make a difference in all of that.
How long have you been divorced?
8 years.
Well, Ryan's
before
remarried.
I got remarried.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So we got a video we want y'all to watch, all right? Because the average cost of divorce is pretty expensive. But check this video.
Miss Smith should have bailed out way early, all right? This is why. He pedestalized this particular woman, and he basically had her in his life. And if you look at it now, at the age he is, all right, at the twilight of his career, right now, he is devastated at this particular loss. He's blindsided at this particular situation. And this is why I counsel you guys right here and say, guys, do you want to be this man at 45, 50, 55, and do what I call is a great divorce, where your wife gets into a situation where she says, you know what, I'm done. You've elevated her status, you provided her money, and now all of a sudden she dumps you to the side of the road.
Now, the average cost of a divorce in the United States is $15,000 per person for court costs and legal fees. Hell, you say.
I was about to say.
I don't know what that is.
That?
Women see a household income drop of 23 to 40% in the first year after divorce. So that's what happens too.
Men see an up to 40% decline in the standard of living. Rapper MC Lyte made headlines last year when she talked about her divorce and said the Black community needs to do a better job at promoting prenups. Why do you think Black couples are less likely to get a prenup?
Because we have faith.
I hate
And
that.
we gotta, we getting it. This is just what I hear. Like, we have faith, and if we're gonna be in a relationship, this should be our stuff, this, that, and the other. I ain't falling for that.
I think a lot of Black couples are into the prenup thing.
Prenup.
And I think that's also what's causing a very low low marriage rate in our communities because everyone is trying to protect their assets. I hear not more, but I hear a lot of black men say, I want to marry, but I don't want to marry a woman who wants to take me for everything.
Right.
And I don't blame them.
Because they've seen it.
Yeah, because they've seen it. I don't blame them, and that's real. It's a real life thing that happens. But I think that's where marriage gets lost in the sauce because it's not about taking each other for everything. It's about how do we build everything with each other.
It's just devil's insurance. I ain't saying nothing wrong with us, but as if the devil get busy.
Right. And we're seeing it right now with Travis Hunter. Everybody's talking about, I hope we got a good prenup. I hope we got a good prenup because they're worried about what's going to happen to those assets based on this fiance. I mean, it may not have been like that in the past, but black people definitely know about prenups now.
But you know, one thing I do want to say is I get so frustrated with people trying to say that men are always talking about, oh, I lost my money. Oh, I lost my money. Okay, well, you lost money. That woman lost her youth. And that's something that she can never get back. And I feel a lot of the time, like we put this emphasis on, oh, she's gonna take me for half that I'm worth. I believe in a prenup, personally. I think that if I'm going to be with you for the best years of my life, let's say that's 25 to 55, or let's say it's 35 to 45, you've gotten such a large portion of the best years of my life, and what does that cost? And that's the problem, that there's no tangible measurement to that.
Well, I'm not
All right,
signing a prenup.
we got more. When we come back, all right? So don't go nowhere. It's just getting started on Truth Talks. And it's a show so nice, we're going to have to come back and do it twice. Because we have run out of time.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That's all the time we have for tonight. But make sure that you follow us on all of our socials and right here on Fox, Soul, and on YouTube. And if you're a guy out there who's going through a divorce, or if you're a woman out there that's going through a divorce, there are lots of books out there and things that you can read. And, you know, sometimes you may have to release the person.
Yeah, and I want to thank you too. I want to thank Willie and Rye for opening up, being vulnerable, because that even gave me, I don't know about Sarah, but a lot of insight on just men and how y'all feel. And I just always say that I'm never divorcing my husband because I don't want to experience what y'all shared. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay, well,
Thank you for letting me
I'm glad that we could help.
for letting me share.
All right, y'all, that's it. Thank you for joining us. Good night.
Good night.